I'm not that great at YouTube, I'm not that great at editing or thumbnails, but if there's one thing that I'm good at, it's YouTube script writing. My name is Brian and I've generated millions of views and millions more dollars with the YouTube scripts that I've written for some of the biggest educational channels out there. And this is the full updated YouTube script writing course for 2026. Over the past year, there have been a ton of changes with AI, and that has affected YouTube, and more specifically, how we go about writing YouTube scripts. And today, we're going to go over all those changes and exactly how I'm thinking about writing hooks, call to actions, curiosity gaps, and coming up with video ideas using AI. And tell you what, if you don't have the attention span to sit down for more than 5 minutes to take some notes on exactly how to grow your YouTube channel with this YouTube script writing guide, sorry to tell you, but you're probably not going to make it. So this is a YouTube script writing course updated for 2026. I always want to start with the definition of scripting because this is something that people get completely twisted. They get completely off, right? They think that scripting is only in the form of fully written scripts. But really, that's not the case. Because if you look at the dictionary definition of scripting, it's to write words of a film, play, broadcast, or speech. But in reality, for YouTube, scripting just means planning. So scripting a YouTube video doesn't necessarily mean writing out every single word, even though it could be that, but simply means just planning more, right? It's spending more time on the planning stage of your video, right? And we use a ton of AI in that specific stage. So in other words, it's planning what you say in the hook, planning the direction of the video, and planning the outro. And scripting is simply the work that you do before getting on camera that makes getting on camera easier. So once again, a Google Doc is a script. If you have written it on a Google Doc and you're going to talk over the Google Doc, this is one of my latest videos, I would consider that to be a script because it is planning out exactly what you're going to be talking about. Or a PowerPoint slide is also a script, right? This is one of my favorite ways in order to present information. It's because it's simply a script. You look at the slide and you know exactly what to talk about, kind of like this video. And flow charts and drawings are also a script because these are stuff that you prepare before you get in front of the camera, and really it substantially helps you, go through the workflow of actually presenting a video. Even bullet points are considered a script. Why? Because it is planning. So only by scripting videos can you make them actionable, effortless to consume. It shows your personality. It has some sort of a feel-good factor. It's entertaining and humorous. It gives the viewer exactly what they want, and it caters to a new audience and your existing audience at the same time. In other words, scripting your video is the most important part of creating content, right? If you do not do any work in the pre-production, you're gonna get absolutely screwed in the post-production because, a good edit cannot save a bad script, but a good script can save a bad edit. And for the last 2 years, I've written 1,080 scripts across every niche in every type of, different niche and different types of scripts that you can even imagine. And to be honest with you, the script writing landscape has completely changed, right? Literally 2 years ago, Claude, ChatGPT were considered to be not good enough for creative writing. But these days, right, with models like Kimi, models like Claude Sonnet, it's gotten totally out of hand, right? And these models have gotten really, really good to the point there's a bunch of tools out there that can, even automate the entire video generation. So it's super important to adapt to this new technology. I believe AI to be one of those things that is going to completely revolutionize how we think about work, and it's going to affect YouTube, and it already has affected YouTube. So I want to illustrate and go over some of those changes here with you guys today. Once again, back then, AI wasn't even capable of writing full scripts, right? It was only good at writing short form. Everyone was saying that it's bad at long form creative writing, but now it absolutely is good enough, right? So that's why I'm still get the question of, hey, Brian, should I completely write out my scripts? In my professional opinion, from writing over 1,000 scripts in the past 2 years, so this is a combination of bullet point scripts where we'll work with clients who are very technical in their space. So we would write bullet point scripts for them, or clients who are, going a little bit more broad with the mindset stuff. That's where we write the full scripts, right? I used to think that the best performing scripts are only the ones that are fleshed out word for word, right? Because when you flesh it out word for word, you spend less time in front of the camera, you just read it off a teleprompter, you spend less time editing, and the script is much more actionable, informative, and entertaining. But having, written so many of these scripts, I can say that it's fully dependent on the style of the video and the core emotion of the video, right? It's not dependent on how much time you want to spend on camera. It's the style and it's the core emotion, right? I'll kind of explain that in a little bit. So I like to write bullet points if Number one, you're great on camera. If you know exactly what to say, the exact emotional triggers, the exact words to say, kind of how to string thoughts together, and you're just naturally charismatic on camera, then hey, let's go for these bullet points, because then you can be a lot more expressive. You have a little bit more freedom with exactly how you're going to present. But if you're not good on camera, bullet points is not going to serve you, because you're just going to stumble over your words. You're going to be like, and it's not going to be a good look. Okay, so if you're great on camera, bullet points is the way to go. Or number two, right, related to the core emotion of the video, is if your content is more raw, right? If it's meant to be more authentic, a little bit more raw, it's not meant to be scripted, then yes, absolutely right, bullet points, okay? Or if you want to be more relatable, kind of like raw, you want to showcase your personality more, more like raw, and you have more of a personal brand target, right? So from my purview, like, yes, Alex Hormozi, one of the biggest business creators, one of the biggest content creators of our generation, grew his personal brand massively. From my understanding, he doesn't write scripts out word for word, right? He writes the hook out word for word, and then the body is in bullet points, meaning that he understands exactly the direction that he's going to take the content in, and then he just executes, because he's such a great speaker. He's done so many hours of speaking, so many hours of sales calls, so many hours in front of the camera, so many hours on YouTube, that he just kind of knows exactly what to say. So that's where you want to write bullet points. But if your videos are much higher production quality, meaning that it's going to be super duper edited, lots of fast cuts, then you want to write out a full script. Or if you're trying to push more content out consistently, you want to batch content. It doesn't make sense to batch a bunch of bulleted scripts. You write a full script out, right? And if you need to include specific data or quotes, right? There are certain scripts where, for example, it's a documentary. Documentaries need to be fully scripted out, right? Because you are literally documenting the story of someone or a certain phenomenon. It's better to script those out rather than going off of the cuff. And once again, fourth point, a documentary target, right? There's just certain things that you have to script out because it needs a certain amount of research. Whereas if it's more of a personal brand and it's from a place of authority, something that you exactly know what you're talking about, then you don't need to fully script it out. So for example, slides like these, I don't really fully script out. I just have a couple bullet points, couple images that I prepare, and then I come here and I present, right? Because it comes from a place of authority, I know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm not gonna go ahead and write a full script, right? I'm gonna trust myself because of my expertise in the topic, because I've actually talked about this topic many times. So I'm just gonna trust myself to go off these bullet points and these slides over here. So one last thing before we cut to the real sauce on how to write a script. Okay, because if you want access to these slides, plus an AI that does all of the heavy lifting, you can click the first link in the description and we'll send this right to your inbox. So to actually write a good script, we need to know what a good script looks like. If you don't know what a good script looks like, you will never be able to prompt AI to tell you what a good script is. So just like how you need to be able to taste food, right, and know what good food tastes like before you can cook, it's the exact same thing, right? You need to know what a good script looks like. So previously, this is what I used to think, okay? What makes a good script, right? I used to think that, hey, a good script is great if the language is incredibly simple, meaning that it's very easily digestible. It means, people can watch it, a wide range of people, a large total addressable market can watch a specific piece of content because the language is incredibly simple, right? And number two criteria is, does the script give the audience exactly what they want? And number three, would you watch this video, right? This used to be exactly how I think about writing a good script, but these days it's kind of a little bit different, okay? Because today with AI, there is more content flooding the channels over and over, right? Now, how I really judge a piece of content is, would I pay $100 to watch this piece of content? Is it worth $100 to the viewer? Because there's lots of AI slop out there, right? There's lots of just like pure AI generated scripts with no editing that's being pushed out there right now, because there's so much of that slop out there. If you kind of like quantify, right, the amount of content out there, the supply is just trending towards infinite, right? And if you look at common market dynamics, demand and supply over here, if supply is infinite, then the value of something goes down, right? But if you can create something in an area of low supply and high demand, and it's extremely worth to the viewer, that means the information that you are delivering is worth $100. The movie that you're making, the documentary that you're making, the information, the entertainment, the editing is worth $100, where, you know, people would go to the cinema and pay for a piece of media to view it. It's the exact same thing here, because it's an experience that you're giving to the viewer. So will the viewer give you $100 to watch your video? And hopefully this video is worth $100 over here. So always ask yourself, would a viewer pay $100 for this level of education or entertainment? If the answer is no, then you're absolutely cooked, right? You gotta redo your video. That means the content is not good enough, right? The very basis, the very script, exactly what you're telling, the entertainment that you're giving has to have a certain level of interestingness, right? That people will want to watch it. So let's get into it. Okay, class in session. Let's go into how exactly to write a script. Let's talk about how to script a video. So the very first step is one that people completely skip, but in reality is the most important. And most people go straight into writing the script, and then they'll decide what the title wants to be. And that's the complete wrong way to go about it, right? I see this mistake even till this day. I preach about this all the time, because you want to determine what the idea or the title of your video is first before you get into scripting the video, because the title sets expectations for the video and the script has to meet those expectations. You cannot meet the expectations without knowing what the expectations are. AKA, if you don't set the title, you don't know what the expectations are. And if you don't know what the expectations are, you can't really write the hook, or you can't even write, you know, the actual script. So it's kind of like going to your girlfriend's parents' house without your girlfriend telling you what her parents are like. It would be a total disaster, right? The boyfriend will have no idea how to calibrate himself to deal with the parents. So it is super important to understand, hey, what are the expectations that I'm setting? And then you can set those expectations. So before we even write the script, I wanted to figure out the idea and the title. Okay, so in terms of the entire script writing process, it follows this. Okay, super duper simple. Starts with the idea / the title, and then you outline the script, and then you write the hook, and then you script the video, and then you edit the script. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do each individual part. And it starts with the idea. So there are different types of video ideas, okay? And each channel has its own types of YouTube videos that we'll be scripting. So it's important to understand which type of video that we are scripting before we even get into scripting, because we don't want to create the wrong type of video with the wrong angle, because then it's going to have the wrong type of editing, right? So it's super important to think about this. So I'm going to use my channel as an example, this channel that you're watching. In terms of different types of videos that we have full course videos like the one that you're watching right now. So this is a video designed to give value for free and build authority in the space, because when someone sees a full course, you immediately look like the person who actually knows the whole game and not just some random tips, right? So the goal here is to attract high intent viewers. So that means you're trying to attract someone who's willing to watch a 2-hour course, which if you're watching to this point, you're probably going to watch the rest of it because there's actually good sauce there, right? And then you can sell them a product because it is a higher intent viewer. Number 2, right, with these full course videos, my kind of intention is that, hey, I can create an evergreen asset that people can, you know, go onto YouTube search, go into Google search and find. And really these courses tend to perform pretty well because we go super duper in depth. And of course, the content is very well thought out. And number 3, the goal of a course video is to drive conversions without feeling salesy, because I just give you all of the sauce here. And then I'm going to give you an AI to actually implement a lot of this stuff. So it's giving away all of the information, and then the AI tool will help you implement it, right? Another type of video is, you know, doing a task live, right? So instead of teaching theory, you perform it in real life. So over here, we have this video, watch me write a killer YouTube script with AI, watch me write a killer YouTube script that keeps viewers hooked, right? So these are like long form deep dives that I go into, you know, how exactly I write a script. So really, I have these, you know, that I do periodically because it proves that I'm legit, right? There is actual proof of me talking through my thought process of how I write a script. See, this very first video doesn't get a ton of views, 7.1K views, but if you were to watch me an hour and 20 minutes of me scripting a video live from scratch and actually, you know, doing it word for word, you see my exact AI prompts, exactly how I think about it. It's totally a raw video. And then I record the video at the end. It gives you a lot of proof, and it's like, okay, this guy actually knows the process. And like a lot of people have came on the call call and ask me like, hey, like, how do you do that, right? And because I explained my entire thought process there, right? And number two, the goal of a video like this is to teach taste and decision making, right? So what to do first, what to ignore, and what not. Drives insane retention when structured right, because there's kind of a goal in mind at the end. It's like, hey, does he actually write a good script? And number four is to make your product or offer the obvious next step if your audience watches, right? So if I'm selling like a YouTube script writing course, for example, them watching me write a YouTube script and me explaining my thought process, they were like, hey, I want more of this because this guy has, you know, given good information on this, and I will continue to provide this good information, if that makes sense, right? So these are some of my favorite videos to make because they are super easy. I just kind of go off the cuff and it's a full YouTube video that people can watch just like that. And then the last one that I go with is how to solve a problem video. So it's a video where, hey, do this, and then the problem goes away. So one problem, one promise. You define the problem in the viewer's words so they feel instantly understood. They get a step-by-step fix. You prove it with data, case study, screenshots, comparable examples. And really the goal of this is to win the click, build authority fast, and create a high viewer satisfaction. So we have videos like this on the subscriber channel. It's how to clone a YouTube channel with AI. This is a really great outlier. High script viral videos with AI. Really great outlier. How to write 1 hour long viral YouTube scripts in minutes with AI. Once again, another really good outlier, right? So these build very good proof for me and for my brand, and it's something that, you know, people can constantly come back to and, you know, kind of look forward to. So it's so important, right? I just kind of went over examples within my channel, but it's so important to know what type of video that you're scripting so that you can write it in the right way, right? If you don't actually write it in the right way, there's going to be very limited impact of your actual video. So you want to think about, hey, what is the type of script that I'm writing? So let's get into how to actually think about that, right? And this brings us to the next question. How do you find these different types of videos that you can make on your channel? So all you need is to follow this very framework. A viral video idea equals a topic plus format. So over here, we have an example. On the left is the topic, top 3 tips to improve your communication skills. So the topic is communication. And then in the center is give me 15 minutes and I'll make you dangerously confident. So the format is give me 15 minutes or give me time and I'll make you X. And that birthed the video on the right? It says, give me 15 minutes and I'll make you a better communicator than 90% of people. Once again, the script starts with the video idea. So it starts with this. An idea is just a topic plus a format. It is as simple as that, right? Anyone who tells you that, oh, you have to do, you know, like go onto YouTube, you have to look at all your top competitors, blah, blah, blah. That is all nonsense. You just have to focus on these 2 things. What is the topic that I'm talking about? So exactly what you're going to be talking about, and what is the format within that, right? So over here, once again, viral video idea equals topic plus format, right? So the topic over here, 7 businesses to start for beginners. So this is on businesses. Okay. The format is 13 years of communication skills knowledge in 53 minutes, right? Which gave a viral video idea 30 years of business knowledge in 2 hours and 26 minutes. Or viral video idea equals topic plus format, right? Honey badgers don't care. So the topic is honey badgers. That video got 2 million views about honey badgers. Why it sucks to be born as a medieval executioner. So the format is why it sucks to be. And then the viral video idea is why it sucks to be born as a honey badger. 1.5 million views, right? Just by combining topic plus format. So you need a winning topic, a winning format, and that will give birth to a winning video idea. And on top of understanding that, you know, your video idea is topic plus format, more than anything, ideas are a volume game. Okay. So cut back to me. There's a famous pottery class story where there's this professor who has a pottery class and he tells one half of the class to make perfect pots, right? And then the other half of the class, right, that he splits it up into, he tells them, hey, make 100 pots, right? And he asks them, go out 2 weeks, go out and make your pots. So group A, you know, meticulously sculpts like what the best pot looks like. And then there's group B who, you know, makes a pot, fails, makes a pot, fails, makes a pot, fails, makes a pot, fails. Which group do you think makes the best pot, the best looking pot? Okay. The answer is not group A because they are so meticulous in trying to craft it. The answer is group B, right? Because group B goes out there and molds the pot and the pot becomes this thing that is really, really beautiful. They make many mistakes, and through all of the mistakes and trial and error, they come out with a really beautiful pot by the end of it. So essentially what I'm trying to say here is that, you know, what a mistake that a lot of you guys will go ahead and make is that you will go there and try to meticulously craft like the best video idea. You guys will sit there thinking for hours and hours and hours, like, okay, what is the best video idea? What is the best video idea? What is the best video idea? And you really get nowhere. Okay. But in reality, what you actually want to do is you want to generate as many video ideas as possible, because ideas are a volume game, right? Essentially, you want to generate 100 video ideas, pick the best one instead of spending all your time on one idea and then just go after that idea. So this is basically a volume game. Okay, now I kind of want to show you exactly how to come up with these video ideas and how you can use my tool, Subscriber AI, which you can check out in the link in the description, right? This is essentially a free way to test it out, and I'll show you exactly how it works. So over here, when you log into your dashboard, right, the very first thing that you'll go ahead and do is that you can go ahead and add your channel, right? And you can tell them, hey, what kind of channels that you make videos about. So let's say I make videos about documentaries on criminals. Okay, and bang, let's say here it's a faceless channel that you're running. I'm just gonna click here, continue, and then you can tell it like, hey, I have a YouTube channel, or I'm starting fresh, or what you can do over here is you can remix a channel, right? So if you have a YouTube channel, you can literally directly connect your YouTube channel and it will have all of your voice, right, taken from the transcripts of your videos so that it fully understands your voice, right? This is a YouTube script writing tool. Or you can tell it I'm starting fresh, and you can describe your channel. Or what I actually like to do is I like to remix a channel, right? Especially if I am just starting a new channel and I'm like, hey, I really like this other channel, but I want to do a little bit of a twist to it so that it's mine, right? So let's say I like Fern-TV, right? This is a channel that I really like. What I'm going to do is, give it a channel name. So it's like a Criminals Uncovered, right? And then you ask it like, hey, how will I make it different? I want it to be Fern, but for criminals, right? And Fern's kind of about criminals, but specifically about criminals. So then I'm going to tell it like, hey, this is the twist that I wanted to make for this specific channel. And just like that, give it a time to set up. And then what it's going to do, it's like, hey, it's going to ask you like, hey, are these channels your competitors? Criminal Underworld, Crime Collated. So you can see all these channels are crushing it. So I'm going to add some of these, and let's see if this channel is. Yeah, this channel is. So I'm just gonna go ahead, continue and create my channel. So what it's gonna do, it's gonna take the reference. So it's gonna take the voice of Fern, right? Which they write very, very good scripts. And they have millions, I think 3-4 million subscribers by now. And it's gonna go ahead and help me create my audience avatar over here. So over here, it's telling me, hey, strategic outlaw enthusiast. Strategic outlaw enthusiast is a highly curious, tech-savvy individual who enjoys original Fern's analytical storytelling, but craves a darker, more pragmatic focus on mechanics of crime. They are less interested in moralizing of traditional true crime and more fascinated by the ingenuity, systems, and tradecraft used by criminals to bypass security and authority. This persona appreciates the remix channel because it treats criminal history as a series of high-stakes case studies in problem-solving, risk management, and technical execution. And here it gives me the demographics, the psychographics. So it gives you your exact audience profile. So it understands your exact audience, right? And only because it understands your exact audience can you go to this step over here where it actually generates your ideas once it has, once it understands your channel. So then it's going to give you a bunch of ideas. So over here, for example, right, it gives you a reference, right? How hackers stole $1 billion from banks. And it does research and it tells you like, hey, this video idea could be really good. How the Lazarus group stole $625,000 from a video game. That's actually like super interesting. I didn't even know that. So 625 million. So if I'm like, okay, I like this idea, so I'm going to prove this idea real quick. How dark web dark store works. I actually kind of like that too. So I'm going to thumbs up that. The biggest fraud in crypto history. I also kind of like that. Sky ECC, the most genius police honeypot. Right over here, the most genius FBI operation. Police honeypot. Maybe like I'm just going to like it. The cartels own part of the Antwerp. I don't know. Narco submarine that simply shouldn't exist. What was on the Silk Roads server? The $10 billion cartel logistics machine. The geniuses on Antwerp diamond heist. The hunt for the world's most wanted hacker. Okay, like let's just say we like those. Okay, so out of those 10 ideas, I'm like, hey, I kind of like these 10 ideas. But if I'm like, hey, I still want more video ideas, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click generate more video ideas here on the top right, and it's going to keep generating video ideas. So what this does is because, we designed it this way is because we understand that ideas at the end of the day are a volume game, right? And when ideas are a volume game, you have to understand that, it's not just a matter of finding the one best idea. It's generating 100, 200, 300 video ideas at scale, seeing which ones that you like. And then once you have 100 video ideas, narrow it down. What are the 10 that I like? What are the top 5? And then what is the one video idea that I'm going to pursue this week that I have the most confidence in because I have the most data, right? It follows the idea of the topic plus format equals video idea. And the way that this generates video ideas, it's not just like ChatGPT or Claude where it gives you a bunch of video ideas. You can see here, it actually references a bunch of winning formats. So you can see here how dark web, dark store works. So it's based off the format, how a interesting topic works, right? So it comes up with video ideas that way. It takes a winning format, aka how blank works, or in this case, right, the hunt for X, right, the hunt for X over here, and it generates video ideas based on the formats. And these are trending formats. You know, these are not video ideas that worked 4 or 5 years ago. If you kind of go and see these videos, right, these videos are all recent videos that it is inspired from, right? And once this goes through another round of generating video ideas, you'll kind of see that, hey, we have 20 video ideas now. Like we'll kind of see like 30 video ideas, 40 video ideas, 50 video ideas. And so we can generate even more video ideas so that we can narrow down what is the best potential video idea, right? And the best part about this, if you have a set of video ideas that you really like and you're like, hey, I don't really know what has the best chance of performing with this channel, right? I'm going to show you in a little bit exactly how you can go into the subscriber chat. And so you can talk to subscriber on what is the best video idea. So let's do just that. So we're going to go here, create new chat, and we're going to connect our new channel, which is Criminals Undercover, right? So I'm going to tell it, hey, look at my ideas bank. What do you think is the best next video idea to pursue based on demand, right? So it's going to look through my ideas bank because it knows exactly what ideas that I've generated. And it's going to tell me, hey, what video ideas should I pursue from this list? And then going to tell me why. And then we can just basically go back and forth. It's basically ChatGPT on YouTube steroids because it is actually trained on a bunch of YouTube data here, right? So it gives you a bunch of video ideas over here. Why this ghost driver is the police worst nightmare. So it tells you why. It gives you the outlier score. It gives you the angle, right? It highlights system exploitation of automated law enforcement. It gives you the topic, and it gives you a bunch of other strong contenders. And then if you're like, hey, I like the ghost driver idea, right? Or like you can tell it, hey, I want to find what is a more trending topic and make a video on that. Not just look at the outlier score, right? So you can give it, you know, different criteria in order to figure out what video idea would be the most interesting to pursue over here. So then it's going to start searching the web, and it's going to start, you know, looking at all of these different trends in order to give you like, hey, this video idea is a great one to pursue, right? So this is, you know, literally one of my favorite ways in order to do ideation, because not only can you generate a high volume of ideas based on winning topics and winning formats, and then you can also chat with our chatbot that is, you know, AI powered, that understands all of the different nuances with regards to video ideation in order to come up with something pretty amazing here. So we're just going to give this a little while, and you can see here, based on the current 2026 trends, the most trending topic that aligns with your channel's focus, tradecraft systems and strategic criminal mechanics in the industrialization of cybercrime via agentic AI and supply chain attacks, right? So the rise of agentic AI gangs, right? Top trending concept, right? The trend 2026 is being called the year of cybercrime because fully industrialized criminal groups are now using agentic AI that doesn't just write text, executes multiple step hacking protocols, and it gives you ideas here and AI that hacked the bank in 40 seconds. That is a pretty fire idea, right? And just like that, right, we're going to show you in kind of the next steps exactly how to write the script here once we've gotten the video idea. So yeah, that's exactly how you can generate these video ideas kind of on demand with just a click of a couple buttons, and you can see that the ideas are actually good. You can test it out at subscriber.ai right now in the link in the description. Let's get on with the rest of the full script writing course. I wanted to get into the actual sauce of how to write a script once you have this video idea. So once again, when you have your topic, you're like, in this case, it's dropshipping, which is what you're going to talk about. You find a format, how to present it. Okay. Once again, you have a topic, honey badger, you find a format, how you're going to present it. Topic, what you're going to talk about, and then format, how you're going to present it. Literally, if you just follow this, right? And once again, you can do this on your own, right? You don't have to use any AI tool. Figure out what you're going to talk about, whether it's YouTube scripts, hooks, Facebook ads, meta ads, and whatnot, find a way to package it with the format that will give you a banger video idea. So the next question is how you know if a topic or format is good. Okay, so when we go ahead and find a topic, right? The first thing that I look for is search demand, right? Are people actively looking for this topic, right? So you can type it into YouTube search, see, hey, does autocomplete suggestions appear? Existing videos still getting views. So you want to see that there is actual search demand. That is one of the criteria that we look at if it's more of a search-based video. Number two, if there's proven performance, right? Has this topic or format worked before for others, right? And you can check other similar videos, look at their view to subscriber ratio. If a 10,000 subscriber channel got 100K views, then it's proven, right? So if there's proven performance, then yeah. And then criteria number three, right? Something that we often neglect is your audience interest, right? So rather than kind of just thinking of, hey, will this video work? You want to think that, hey, does your audience actually want to consume this kind of content? And if the answer is yes, then you double, triple down on it. So for the format, in terms of a pro tip that I have for you is that I highly advise you to look at formats outside of your niche. So for example, if I'm in a YouTube niche and I'm looking for ways on how to start a YouTube channel, right, I will look at formats in like the dropshipping niche or personal brand or trading niche, right, where you can see this video, right, easiest way to start a dropshipping in 2025, easiest way to start trading. I can say easiest way to start a YouTube channel because this is something that people also want to start. So this is a title that I can piggyback off, right? So that way, right, or with this title, how to build a personal brand so magnetic they back to buy, I can get two ideas: easiest way to start a YouTube channel in 2026 for beginners, or how to build a YouTube channel so irresistible that they beg to buy. So just like that, a couple video ideas. But there's a step that I want to share with you that, I haven't really shared anywhere. And this next step, once you have the idea from the topic plus format, this is something that a lot of people miss that is super duper important, that you also really want to think about when you're creating your video idea, and that is the execution of the video, right? And this is the script, or like exactly how you deliver it, because everyone talks about how to come up with video ideas, but really, I believe a strong video idea is only as strong as your way of executing it. So most people only think about title and thumbnail and not have a vision for how the video can be executed. But in my head, before I make a video, I must be very clear about exactly how I'm going to execute the video before I even go ahead and approve idea, right? Because if an idea in theory sounds good, but then we go in and execute it, it's kind of a boring video, then like what's the point? So for example, people will be like, hey, this is an interesting topic plus format, but when you go and execute it, once again, it's a 5-minute task, or it's like a 3-minute video, or the story is not super interesting, but you got a really good title and thumbnail, but then like the payoff isn't super exciting or anything like that. So to avoid that, here's what you want to think about after finding your topic or format. It's thinking about how your content will be presented. So for example, if it's an educational video, you want to think about it, hey, how can I present it in these ways? Entertainment video, how you can present it in these ways. And I'm going to go over exactly how you can present your video. So number one is a talking head, right? What you're looking at right now, it's kind of a talking head, right? It's me just talking directly to the camera, presenting a piece of information. That is a piece of talking head content. Number two is a PowerPoint, right? You can use a PowerPoint presentation in order to deliver information, right? So this is also a way in order to script your video. It's with a PowerPoint, right? And this is from Alex Ramose's most popular video, and that video has millions and millions of views. So PowerPoints absolutely work. Or what I'm presenting with you right now is in a gamma, right? So this is a way of PowerPoint presentation. It's also a tool for presenting PowerPoints, no affiliation with them whatsoever, but it's a great way to present your ideas. Or live breakdown. That was also one of the formats I showed you previously. And this is one that's super trending right now. It's camera over the top. So it's having a camera over the head, and then you have a marker on a piece of whiteboard and you just write over it, and that ends up being your actual content. So that makes it interesting. And if you're doing an entertainment channel, right, faceless channel, you can do more of a documentary style. This is a Fern video, the only Nazi Hitler feared. So documentary channel, you want to think like, hey, what kind of documentary do I want to turn it into? How can I make this super interesting? Or form of animation, right? In this case, this is a 3D animation. It can be a 2D animation too, or whether it's an explainer video, right? In this case, the title is Venezuela, the 51st state, right? This is an explainer video, and exactly how do I want it to be edited, right? How are you going to execute the video? So not just the title, how can you execute the video? Or maybe it's a simple compilation of clips. Okay, so within the execution, right, it's not just how you can present it. You want to think about what is the level of editing required. So is it a raw kind of editing, right, where there's not a ton of editing to be done and it's just a couple simple cuts? Is it a simple editing with title cards? Or is it something that's a little bit more high production? And bang, now that we have the idea and we know what to execute, the next step is the positioning of your video or of your channel. Because in 2026, the most important factor on YouTube isn't editing thumbnails or even information. It's the positioning of your video, okay? Once again, good information isn't enough anymore, okay? There was a time when posting solid educational content was enough to grow, and that era is over. Because you're not just competing with YouTubers right now, you're competing with AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude, okay? And if someone just wants information instantly, they will go to ChatGPT and they'll go to Claude, okay? But the goal with the entertainment or the education that you provide is that it's coming from you. It's positioned in the correct way, okay? Not positioned in a way so that Claude or ChatGPT will, be able to like summarize it, right? Or will be able to give you the exact same information. It has to come from you with the right positioning, okay? And positioning is what makes people listen, okay? And really it has to be framed in the right way so that they listen to you and not an infinite number of alternatives, okay? So you got to think about the framing. So for example, over here, there's this guy called Jeremy Haynes. If you guys don't know him, right, he's the paid ads funnel scaling guy for people who are already at a high level, who want to hit $1 million a month. So when he came in and when he created his YouTube channel, it absolutely crushed because all of the competitors were just talking about how to make your first $10,000 a month, how to make your first $100,000. And he's like, hey, I'm going to help you make your first $1 million a month. And that was a very different positioning from what everyone else said. And he's absolutely crushing it, 26K subscribers, and he didn't start too long ago. Or for example, this channel over here, Fern, that we referred to a couple times. Fern is positioned as the go-to channel for 3D documentaries. Okay, they have the most interesting content, the most entertaining content, and it's very, very high produced, and they are very, very consistent. And it's no surprise that they are at 4.6 million subscribers, right? It's very, very impressive because it's a Netflix-like documentary channel, and they post twice every single week, which is just absolutely bonkers. So in terms of how you think about positioning, right, there are 4 different ways that I think about positioning my content. It is on a value level, on an insight level, on a clarity level, and on a storytelling level. I look at these 4 things. So first way that I think of positioning my content is on a value level, okay? And that's to drop more sauce than your competitors and it's to teach something that your competitors haven't really thought yet. So when Alex Ramosi came into the market to talk about, how to grow a business, he was talking about how to position your offer, right? And he said offers king because his very first book was $100 million offers, whereas everyone else was talking about leads, right? So you can see here, the value that he was giving was completely different. Not completely different, but the value that he gave was different and distinct from the competition. And it was some advice that people really needed to hear. So on a competition level, the actual content that he put out was much higher quality than what everyone else put out. And that allowed him to out-sophisticate the market and actually perform alongside really great volume with his video. So if you're in a very competitive niche, this is generally pretty hard. But if you're in a niche where there's not a lot of competitors and you can outcompete on the information or on the value, then you can absolutely do so, right? But you want to make sure that, once again, the content isn't positioned so that it can be replaced with ChatGPT or with Claude, right? This must be insightful information. So, or number 2 is on an insight level. Okay, so for example, this guy over here, Jeremy Haynes, as I mentioned, right? Insight being learned and earned experience from years in the game. So Jeremy came in as one of the only people talking about how to help people hit their first $1 million a month, right? And that was a totally different perspective, a totally different level of insight. Because if you're gonna go ahead and explain what a Facebook ads update is or Andromeda update, right, from No Name Joe Schmo, no one's gonna really listen. But if you explain the Andromeda update from the perspective of someone who's generated $100 million on Facebook ads, then it's going to be totally different. And the framing of the content will be different. And it's just like saying if, Warren Buffett would give you financial advice, you'd much more listen compared to, your uncle giving you financial advice who's completely broke, right? So it is the insight level that it provides that makes you listen to someone like that and makes it irreplaceable. The positioning of the content is much better compared to what everyone else is. Or for example, like me, I'm going to explain to you how to write YouTube scripts after writing 1,000 scripts. Then yeah, right? Also super duper important. Or next is on the clarity level, right? Because sometimes ChatGPT or Claude will have difficulty articulating a certain idea, or a lot of your competitors will very poorly articulate a certain idea. And the reason is because everyone's brain rotted and nobody really knows how to speak good English or be able to explain a concept simply. So if you can explain a concept better than how other people can explain it, people are 100 times more likely to trust you. So this channel over here, the 2008 financial crisis explained like year 5, if you can take something complex like the 2008 financial crisis, right, that most people don't understand, and you position it as explained like you're a 5, right, and over here there's a stick figure drawing, so you know that it's going to be simple, the thumbnail communicates that, then that's a totally different way to position a video, right? So you can position a video on a simplicity, or in this case, on a clarity level, or you can position your content on a storytelling level. Okay, so this is a timeless principle. People love stories, right? And studies have shown that stories are one of the things that are sticking into your brain, right? When you remember a story, you are much more likely to remember a certain point, right? But still to this point, right, most people don't know how to tell a story, or people are very poor at telling stories. Once again, because everyone is brain rotted. So really, if you can explain a concept with a personal story that adds credibility, your content will be 100 times more entertaining, and it substantially improves the clarity of your content. Okay, so for example here, Leila Hormozi, whenever she explains a certain concept, right, it's a lot clear, right? Because she tells a story with it. So when you kind of watch her videos, you can see that, hey, she starts with a story and then she tells you what the main lesson is and exactly how you can apply it to your life, right? So all of her videos are all storytelling based, and she has tons of stories because she works with tons of clients, tons of companies, and she has, no shortage of stories, and she does a really great job in terms of differentiating herself with her storytelling. So now at this point, you understand how to generate the video idea, you understand how to position yourself, and now let's get into how to write the hook. So I get asked all of the time, hey, Brian, what is the best way to write hooks? What is the best way to write hooks of AI? Okay. Or should I even be writing my hooks of AI? Okay. And my professional opinion is that you want to treat AI like an assistant. Okay, you want to write the first draft of your hook and then feed it into AI. And to do that, you need to understand the elements of an effective hook. One of the things that we talked about at the very start is that good input equals good output. And you also need to understand what a good script looks like before you can use AI to create a good script. And the same thing applies. You need to know what a good hook looks like before you can use AI to write the hook. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about here right now. So in terms of the elements of an effective hook, okay, the goal of the hook is to do one thing. It's to get the viewer to watch the rest of the video. Similarly, if you look at YouTube, your thumbnail is meant to get people to look at the title, and the title is meant to get people to click, and the click, after you click the first 10 seconds, is to get people to watch the next 30 seconds, and the 30 seconds is to get people to watch the next 2 minutes. So it's the exact same thing, right? It follows this flow. The goal of the hook is to reel the viewer in to watch the rest of the video, meaning that we want the hook to be clear and we want it to be engaging. These are the only two things, right? If it's not clear, it's not engaging, it doesn't tell the viewer what the video is about, then the hook hasn't done a great job. Okay, so couple rules when you're writing your hooks, okay? Jargon. No jargon. Avoid words like prospects, clients, ROAS, etc. Or avoid over-explaining, right? If you're selling a video too hard, you want to avoid over-explaining. Or number 3, excessive credentials. Giving too many credentials, right? If I tell you that, hey, I've written a book, right? I've written 1,000 scripts for my clients, generate millions of dollars, millions of views. I worked with person A, person B, person C, person D, person E, and I have a girlfriend and blah, blah, blah. That's going to be useless because that's too many credentials. You just want to say one line of credentials, one line of proof, and then you get on with it, right? So we need to be conscious about the kind of viewer that will click on the video and also how we can use language to appeal to them. But in general, you want to avoid jargon, over-explaining, excessive credentials, right? Those are kind of non-negotiables that you want to avoid. So in terms of the hook consists of 2 things. It consists of the first line, because as I said, right, the first 10 seconds is to get people to watch the next 30 seconds. So it consists of the first line, and then the next 20 seconds is the introduction. So let's talk about the first line. So these are the 10 types of first liners, right? This is what I talked about in my very first YouTube scriptwriting course. This still holds true, right? The question hook. Have you ever wondered what would happen to your business if you sent 1 million emails? The shocking statement. You've been working out wrong this whole time. The storytelling hook. I went from $150,000 in debt to over $5 million in just 3 years. This is my story. The preview hook. Watch me turn $100 to $10,000 trading stocks in 24 hours. The personal connection. In my college days, I suffered from anxiety. The statistical fact hook. 90% of businesses shut down after 3 years. The challenge hook. I scaled 4 e-commerce stores from 6 to multi 8 figures in the past 3 years to prove it's not luck. The quotation hook. Alex Hormozi said if he were to start over again, he'd start a service-based business. The metaphor hook. You are a hunter. Okay. The proof hook. I've generated $10 million for my clients combined using cold email. So you can take a screenshot of this, right? These are the 10 different types of first liners that have never failed me, right? And you can use this for any type of video, right? These never really failed me. and you know, there's some different types of permutations, but you kind of want to understand, hey, what is the type of hook that I can use over here? And if you're ever like, hey, I don't really know how to write my first line, instead of delegating it to AI, why not you just take one of these 10 types of first liners that are proven first liners to actually get the click, and then you can just use one of these and you can get on with your day, right? So these are meant to be, you can literally forklift any of these hooks, put it into your video depending on the expectations that your title sets, and you are good to go. And then with the introduction, the goal of the introduction is to do three things. Okay, it's to give context to the video, it's to set the stakes, and it's to establish the main payoff of the video. So the introduction is the bridge between the hook and the main content of the video. And the payoff is what the viewer will get or learn when they watch the video. So when you're writing the hook, I want you to list out what questions the viewers will have when they see the title and thumbnail, all right? And I'm gonna give you an example here. And the introduction needs to answer all of these questions in order to set proper expectations, right? Once again, thumbnail gets people to click the title, and the title raises curiosity, gets people to click, and then the first 10 seconds validates it, next 30 seconds validates next 10 seconds. So there's this video that I recently scripted, right? It's titled How I Brainwashed Myself to Be a Millionaire at 20. So this is for Inaya over here. This video got 707K views. Okay, it's a 20x outlier. And whenever you get a 20x outlier like this, it is important to look back at what is the recipe of a 20x outlier video. How I Brainwashed Myself to Be a Millionaire at 20. So when you look at the title and the thumbnail over here, what are the things which come to your mind? So the most probable questions that the viewer would have from seeing this on the homepage are, number one, how did she code brainwash herself to be a millionaire at 20? Do I need to reprogram my brain to be a millionaire? Is it easy to achieve? And what did she use to do it, right? These are the immediate questions, and these are the curiosities of a great title to get you to click on it, right? Most titles out there don't have any curiosity, don't want to get you to click on it. But over here, this title does a really great job of creating that curiosity to want to go ahead and watch this video. So here I've color coded it. And if you can see over here, with all of these questions that's raised, I want to address them inside of the hook. So this is the resultant script. This is how I brainwashed myself to be a millionaire at 20. So you can see over here, with the very title, How I Brainwashed Myself to Be a Millionaire at 20, I literally validate it in the very first line. So this is how I brainwashed myself to be a millionaire at 20. Growing up in a big family, we didn't have a lot of money. As I got older, I discovered your brain has a specific operating system for money, just like a computer, and mine was programmed for poverty. So I had to hack it. So she said, oh, this answers the question, do I need to reprogram my brain to be a millionaire? And then she goes into, most people think mindset work is just about positive thinking, but I'm about to show you why the mental programming I used actually took me from having $20 to my name at 18 years old to building a business that generated $13 million just 4 years later. If I did it in such a short time, I believe that you can too, and probably even faster. And today I'm giving you the exact steps to get there. You'll be happy to know that the techniques I used aren't some secret, but it's shocking how almost nobody actually does them consistently enough to see results. So you can see over here, this brown part answers the question of, hey, what she used to do? And then the red part answer, is it easy to achieve, right? If I did it in such a short time, I believe you can too. And I'm going to give you the exact steps to get there. So it's like, hey, this is easy because I'm going to give you the exact steps and you can actually do it in a short amount of time, right? So this not only addresses the objection of, hey, is this easy? But it also addresses the objection of, oh, how long will it take, right? So it reduces the risk drastically inside of the hook for the viewer to commit to a video like this. And hey, that's the recipe of a 707,000 viewer 20x outlier hook, which is pretty cool. So you can see over here, right, when I do the breakdown, every line in the introduction has a purpose, okay? If it doesn't serve a purpose, you can cut it, okay? And if this still sounds complex, right, I'm also going to link my hook swipe file over here so you can look at all of my best hooks. There are 50 of my best hooks that I've actually written and I know are proven. So you can get it if you click the link in the description and you join us at subscriber.ai too. So now that we have the hook nailed down, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the content, right? Number 4, let's talk about how to write a body. So I get asked this all the time, okay? Brian, do you still write your body word for word, right? Do you painstakingly like write it all down by yourself? Okay, and honestly, I would if it wasn't such a massive waste of time right now, right? Because right now, in my professional opinion, writing everything manually in 2026 is just a massive waste of time, right? Especially with the power of AI, right? It used to be the case that AI couldn't write better than you, but now it can. So it's something that we have to drastically take advantage of, especially if you know exactly how to prompt AI and the exact AI tools to use in order to get a better written output than you can write. Right? Because in some capacity, right, we are not the best writers in the world, right? And we must be able to train the tools that are the best writers to take the ideas that we have to turn them into content, because right now it's an ideas world. The people with the best ideas that can think without outsourcing it to AI, but outsource the execution to AI, those are the people who are going to win. So I'm going to teach you exactly how to outsource it, right? But the mistake that most people make is that they outsource their voice completely, okay? And really AI should handle the heavy lifting, but you should inject your perspective, right? You should do the research. You should take your, insights, everything that you've learned, and give it to the AI to turn into a video. You don't want the AI to think for you. When the AI starts thinking for you, you're in a very bad spot, because the actual content that you put out isn't great, okay? Because information can be automated, but your unique opinion cannot be, right? That is something that AI cannot replace. It is called a brand or a personal brand. So you want it to be personal. You want it to be your personal information. Anytime that I've written a full AI script and I've just fully delegated it to AI, let AI do the thinking for me, never has the content came out good, right? But when I give the AI my thinking, right, and I give it in such a way that it's easy to present, that I can give it to you guys just like this, when I put it into a presentation like this, those videos have always consistently performed the best. So this is what most people go out into, okay? They'll go out, they'll go to a coffee shop, start writing a script, but then they will hit a mental block. And really, this is the most common mistake of content, right? Most people will try to pull content out of thin air, right? They'll go ahead and start reading a bunch of stuff, go on Twitter, go and read articles, go and watch other YouTube videos to try and make content that way and pull it out of thin air. Or they'll spend hours trying to be original. They'll just sit down and they'll just ruminate on these ideas, and they end up focusing on the exact wrong things that make a good content, right? But in reality, whenever you are writing the actual script, the actual body, what you want to do is you want to find your unique insights. So exactly how you think that's different, right? And this comes with your positioning, right, that we talked about. And then you want to write the outline of open loops, and then you give the AI more context, okay? So every day you have unique insights. Content is all around you, okay? And to get these unique insights, right, or actually what to feed the AI, right, you want to look at your everyday work of clients, the work in your business, right? Those are insights, right? That means looking at the sales calls, the client conversations in Slack, the conversations with friends, any emails that you have, any standard operating procedures that you would have already created, any documentation that you have, and turn that into videos, right? You can feed that into AI, right? So as long as you're like, hey, I've gone through the ideation stage, I've gone through the execution stage, and now I have a clear idea of, hey, what do people want to talk about? What do people want me to talk about? And you take what people want you to talk about and turn that into actual content. That's when the content, in my opinion, is the most interesting, right? Because you don't go ahead and try to make content from thin air. You take the existing work that you've already done, which is the sales calls, client conversations, and Slack conversation with friends, SOPs, documentation, any other research. Maybe it's books that you've read if you're writing a history script, right? Or maybe it's something that you talked about with your friend, and then you feed it into ChatGPT, and then you turn into this big essay that you can then feed into your script writing tool, right? So whatever it is, you want to look what's around you for inspiration and then turn that into content, right? And that is, that is under the presumption that you are actually doing work outside of content. The content is meant to supplement the existing business or the existing work that you have, right? And this goes the exact same if you're running faceless channels, right? If you're running like a branded channel, like a basketball channel, it's a compilation of, clips that you watch in basketball throughout the week, right? In that case, that is the things around you that you're like, hey, I can turn this into content. So you want to think about it that way. So once you have your unique insights, then you can write the outline with open loops, right? And completely explaining each point is like giving your audience a reward, and they feel good once they've learned each new step, right? And the job of the script is to present each step as more important than the previous one so that the viewers stay anticipating. And we do this by using this technique. This technique is called an open loop, right? So an open loop, if you're not familiar, is essentially a transition while building curiosity. So this is a simple outline that you can use to write the body section of your video, right? It is open loop point 1 or open loop story beat 1, open loop story beat 2, open loop story beat 3. right? And this is a main fundamental component of writing a YouTube script, because what most people will do is that they will hook people once at the very start, and then they'll just brain dump exactly their content insights, and then that's it. When in reality, a great YouTube script requires you to go open loop one, give your point, rehook, give your point, rehook, give your point. Because if you're a viewer, there are 1,000 things that are pulling your attention at the same time, and you want to constantly rehook. And even inside this presentation, I've rehooked you consistently, or I say the next point is more important than the last. So this is super duper important. So example over here, okay? We then want to script out open loops, which are essentially transitions from one payoff to another. So if we script out, hey, the first step is the one that's by far the most important and yet also the most overlooked. And then you talk about point one. So point one, point two, point three are essentially your unique insights, right? That we talked about in the last step. And then the open loop, but after coming up with video ideas, there's one thing that YouTubers will completely neglect and leave till the end of the video creation process, when in reality, it should actually be one of the first things that you do. And it gives point two, and then point three, open loop. This next step I'm about to share with you is perhaps the most disregarded step of them all, and yet is the one that drives the most results. And then it's point three, scripting. Okay, so point one, point two, point three, just like that. And then step number three, right? Use AI to give it more context, right? So if you're an entertainment channel, right, there's tools out there like Perplexity that you can use, or Manus, in order to do this research for you, to really supplement your unique insights and kind of the open loops there. So you can use the AI for more context and for writing a script. So in terms of scripting the actual content, right, now that we have our unique insights, we kind of have an idea of the open loops. I always start with bullets, right? When you're scripting explanation for each point, you start off by writing bullets. So to write out bullets, you want to use this thing called presumptive questions, assumptive questions, okay? Ask yourself, what questions would a viewer have for this section? Okay, so for example, in the previous example over here, we went ahead and said for point number one, coming up with a great video idea, the main questions that I want to answer in my script are, what is a great video idea? What proof is there that a video idea is great? Did anyone credible say that a great idea is the first step? And how do I come up with a great idea? In which case, these are the bullets that I would write. Okay, why is a great idea important? A great idea gets you millions of views. Why? What is proof that a great idea is important? If you look at a Mr. Beast channel, he uploaded 22 videos in 2023. But if he wanted to, he could have uploaded one video a week, but he decides to put 3 times more energy into his best video ideas because the idea behind the video is that important. Number 3, did anybody credible say that a great idea is the first step? And then you play a Mr. Beast clip saying that the idea is the most important. And number 4, how do I come up with a great video idea? You write 100 ideas and narrow it down to a handful of ideas. So just like that, we have exactly what we can write, and then you put it all together into a full script. Or this is what I'm going to show you right now. It's how you can use Subscriber to kind of go through the entire process that I just explained here. So I'm going to go back to this tab, right? And over here, we just did ideation for criminals uncovered. And if I'm like, hey, I want to do this video idea of the AI that hacked the bank in 40 seconds. I want to write the script. So I'm just going to click on this. And what Subscriber is going to do is that it's going to help you figure out the positioning of your video, which is in here, it says it's the angle and exactly what research that we need to feed it. Okay, so let's say the hook, it's 3 a.m., the bank security team is asleep, the firewall is active, their protocols are standard, but the system isn't being attacked by human, it's being audited by an agent that thinks in milliseconds and exploits in microseconds. So the angle is that this story isn't about a smart computer, it's an analysis of agentic AI tradecraft, right? Focus on the logic of the AI, how it identified the 0-day vulnerability, chained 3 minor bugs into 1 catastrophic breach, and extra filtered $10 million before the first alert even reached a human dashboard, right? So one of the things that I'm kind of curious about is like, is this based on a real story? So I was like, hey, is this based on a true story? So I'm just gonna go ahead and check and literally ask it, right? So typically, if you were to work with a scriptwriter or you do the research on your own, this is stuff that you would have to find out on your own. But AI has gotten so good where you can literally just go back and forth with it in order to find out whether it's right or not. So you can see over here, while the concept of agentic AI, there is trend of 26, a specific 40-second autonomous bank heist is a composite case study based on several real-world technological shifts and recent proof of concept attacks, right? To keep your channel's technical and analyst credibility, we should frame it as an analysis of the first documented agentic breach or breakdown of how current systems are failing against the new tools. So like that story is not actually real. So I'm gonna like, hey, I want to base it on a real story. Give me a real story and the packaging that could be similar. So then it will start searching the web to actually find me a story that I can base my video around. And you want to make sure that, hey, that's where you kind of have this human touch, right? You want to make sure that, hey, like the actual content is actually where where you want it to be. So the real story, the Arup deepfake heist, right? The event in early 2024, a finance worker at an engineering giant Arup was invited to a video conference call with the company's CFO and several other colleagues. Every single person on that call except the employee was an AI generated deepfake. The employee was convinced to authorize 15 separate transactions to 5 different Hong Kong bank accounts. The criminals used public footage. Okay. That's super interesting. The $25 million deepfake while your voice is no longer yours. The world's most secure company paid a ghost $25 million. I kind of like this. So I like this angle. Give me more title options, right? So we're just gonna go back and forth with it until we can have a title option that we really like. How criminals turned a Zoom call into a $25 million heist, right? A 25 million glitch in the human firewall. How to rob a bank. I think like something like this, the $25 million social engineering masterclass. Right, something like this. Give me more title options, right? So once again, I really want to validate a title before I get to the actual script and actual scripting of the video. I think let's run something like this. How criminals turned a Zoom call into a $25 million heist, right? So let's say we do this, right? Give me the hook and the angle for this title, right? I actually kind of like this. So we're just going to go ahead and write it for this specific story. So it's literally writing in Fern's voice over here. It's a Tuesday morning in Hong Kong. A finance worker receives a calendar invite for a high priority video conference. He joins the call. He sees his CFO. He sees his colleagues. They talk, they joke, and they give him a direct order. Authorize a series of transfers to secure a secret acquisition. By the time the call ends, 15 minutes later, 25.6 million has left the company accounts. The employee didn't make a mistake. He followed protocol perfectly. The problem was that every single person on the screen, except him, was a ghost. This is the breakdown of the world's first multi-agent deepfake heist. Whoa, this is pretty cool. And yeah, so let's say I like this. Yeah, yes, let's write the script. So you can just literally go back and forth with it until it is super duper good, right? And it's gonna start creating the script over here. And when it starts creating the script, the first thing that subscriber will do, let me collapse this side over here, is that it will open this canvas over here and it will literally start writing this script for you. So you can determine the script length. Let's say this is more of a Fern style. So let's say it's 3,200 words. And then it's going to give you a bunch of questions here, right? And this is your unique insights or your, specific commentary on a certain topic that you can add over here. So this is your personal perspective. What you can also do here is you can choose different templates. So we have different templates over here. We have for compilation videos, commentary videos, educational videos. In this case, it's a documentary video. So we're going to choose documentary. And then here we have a bunch of these different AI models. Okay. My favorite AI model to use to write over here is Claude 4.6 Sonnet. So I'm just going to pick Claude Sonnet over here. And what you can do is, once again, you can add research. So there's this add research button. So I can go ahead and add any URLs, just add any YouTube videos on this. I can add some pieces of text, but let's say I'm writing this from complete scratch. I'm going to do this thing called AI research. So one of the tools that we really like to do research with AI is Perplexity, right? Perplexity has, access to this huge AI database. So what I'm going to do is we have Perplexity hooked up to subscriber. So we're going to be searching, Perplexity over here to see what different articles or what it pulls up in terms of this story over here that we can use that is relevant to writing the script. So let's see what it actually pulls up, and then if it's relevant to the script that we're about to write, then we can just add it directly to the script, and that way we can give the AI even more context so it knows exactly, okay, what the direction of the story is, how to write the outline. Because if you don't give the AI fuel on how to write the outline, it's just gonna write it like how 90% of people out there write scripts, right? And the way 90% of people write scripts out there is just not very good. So you want to be very targeted in terms of the research that you feed it, right? And this is becoming more important than ever when you are writing scripts. So let's just see what it gives me over here while it's generating these suggestions. And bang, over here, you can see the suggested queries, Arup 2024 Hong Kong deepfake heist financial transaction details. And I like this. So I'm just going to start the research over here. So then it's going to put the search query into Perplexity, and it's going to take exactly the info that we get and put it into subscriber over here. So we're just going to give it some time to analyze the results. And you can see over here, we can feed it research of up to 75,000 words. So you can see here, it will, continue searching these results and then put whatever context that it needs over here, right? If you want to continue doing even more AI research, then it's going to get it to generate even more suggestions over here. But let's say over here, right, this is enough research that we have over here, right? We don't need anything else, right? You can see, deepfake voice cloning limitations, financial deepfake fraud prevention, right? I think that's also very reasonable. Deepfake voice cloning real-time limitations 2024, right? So I think those could be interesting to have inside the actual script. So we're just going to give it time to query these and add these research. So what I tend to like to do, if it's more for a personal branding script, I'm going to add specific information that I have on a certain topic, right? So this could be an SOP, right? If you are scripting for software videos, right, you can go ahead and add your help documents onto subscriber, and then it will be able to write scripts for you that way. So just like that, I've given it sufficient research, right? Over here, this will be a pure voiceover documentary with archival and motion graphics. And you can give it as much context as you want or as little context, and you just click here, generate outline, and then it will be able to generate the full outline of the script for you. So you can see over here, it has the hook. It writes out section 1, right? Who is Arab? Why it mattered. So it gives you the context exactly how you would write a documentary. The reconnaissance, building the ghost, right? The attack didn't begin with a video call. It began with a phishing email impersonating, bang, and it gives you the full story like that. And you can see it just generate the full outline this way, according to kind of the length. And you can see it builds out the transitions or the open loops, right? With the ghost built and the social architecture in place, the operation moved to its execution phase, the call itself. So it's like, what is the call itself, right? So you can see over here, builds anticipation for what's going to happen. It gives you all of the different, sections over here. It gives you the conclusion, and bang, just like that, 1,000 words. And the best part about this, like what I would do typically after writing the outline, is I'm going to spend some time editing the outline to make sure that the outline is actually good, right? And if you read this is like all pretty legit. And once it's good, you click here, continue the scripting. You click here, generate the script. And just like that, you can generate a full script worth of content in literally just a couple of clicks, right? And so that's why subscriber is super duper useful. Really, this tool was born out of my necessity in order to write more scripts. When I was first starting out my agency, we had so many clients with all these different types of scripts, and really I became a co-founder of this because I really wanted to make sure that, hey, like everyone should have access to these good scripts, and AI is moving in a direction where it can, as long as the tool has the ability to scrape specific YouTube data, and we can prompt in a certain way, build in a certain direction, that it can write actually really banger scripts just like that. So you can see the full script being generated over here. You guys can pause this and read it if you want. You can see here, section 1, the target. To understand why this worked, you have to understand who they hit. And Arpin isn't a bank, it isn't a crypto exchange, it's a British multinational engineering firm. The kind of firm that designs bridges, concert halls, airports, and the structural backbone of government infrastructure across 6 continents. Founded in 1946, Arp had built a reputation as one of the most technically sophisticated organizations on earth. The Sydney Opera House, the Beijing National Stadium, projects that required decades of institutional trust to even get a seat at the table. Their reputation is relevant because it tells you something about how the firm operates internally. Large, complex, globally distributed organizations run on a specific kind of institutional trust. The assumption that when a senior executive issues a directive, a chain of command response. That's not a flaw in the system, that's how the system is designed to function. The Hong Kong office was a high value node in that network. It handles significant financial operations, ran on standard corporate communication infrastructure, email, internal directories, Zoom, and process the kind of inter-office transfers that are routine in a firm operating at that scale. Nobody flags a wire transfer when wire transfers are part of the job description. Bang, it just writes the full script that way. Let's see if it's completed the full script. And you can see it's still generating. I believe we told it to generate it to like 3,000 words because this is a full documentary script. And as it's being generated, you can kind of see this entire thing, right? And it has all of the details over here. And it actually tells the story from start to finish. And then once it has the full script, you can see we prompted it to be 3,000 words, 2984 words. So it's pretty accurate in terms of the length that you want it to be. And you can go ahead, you can edit the script, right? You can prompt it in here. You can highlight the certain section. If you're like, hey, I don't like this hook, right? You can prompt it, make this hook more punchy, right? And then what it'll do is that it'll send the prompt over here, and then it will only edit the hook, right? Or only edit that specific highlighted part, right? And you can see here it's being edited the content, and then it'll give you a couple options, and then it would just make the hook a lot punchier, right? And you can do this for any of the other section, right? And the best part about this is typically with like ChatGPT or with Claude, you would write inside ChatGPT, copy paste it into Google Doc, edit it, put it back into ChatGPT and whatnot. But with here, we've built it so that it's like Google Docs. You can literally like edit it from within here. So it is like Google Docs. It is like your Notion inside of here, right? Which is pretty cool. You guys can give this a read. If there's any changes you want to make, any research that you want to add, you can absolutely do it, right? Once again, you have, just different prompt libraries within here. If you're like, hey, I want to strengthen the hook, you can paste this thing in, right? You have a prompt over here, review my script's hook opening, give 2 to 3 specific ways that you can generate it, and it gives you a hook analysis. You can see over here, recommendations for improvement, and then it gives you different recommendations, right? So I'll be like, hey, I want to go with, let's see, direction A is a 0-day framing. The social consensus. Most of this case isn't just one defect, it's a multi-agent aspect. Highlighting that the victim was outvoted by ghosts creates a much stronger hook, right? He didn't just see a CFO, he saw a room of consensus. For 80 years, the most secure biometric. Let's go with direction A. It's the best. Rewrite the hook. So then it will give you a bunch of these different styles, which you can then pick from, right? So this prompt library is honestly one of the most stronger things. If you're like, hey, I want to improve my pacing, improve pacing. Smooth section transitions, right? Strengthen the conclusion, right? Add curiosity gaps, optimize it for retention, fact check with research. You can do any of these. You want to improve your engagement. And then if you want to write a video description once you are done, you can also do any of these, which I think is pretty cool. And just like that, that's exactly how you can use Subscriber. In terms of, some other features that you have over here, if you go to the channels tab over here, and let's say you go to any channel here, right? Over here, we have all of these different boards that you can have. This is a Kanban board, so you can do project management within here. You know what videos are in recording, what videos have been published, what videos are in editing, so you know exactly what the stage of the video ideas that you create are. You can spy on your competitors. Over here, you can spy on all of your competitors. You can add to your competitor list, so you can filter by, hey, what videos are performing, what videos are not. We'll send you emails on what videos are there and what videos are working. You can create your own templates based on a winning video. If you see, hey, there's this winning video and I want to create a winning template based on this, I can generate it from a YouTube video. So let's say I'm going to go on YouTube and I really like this specific video. Maybe let's just scroll for a little bit. Let's say I really like this video over here from Jeremy Haynes. I'm going to share it, copy, and then I'm going to paste it inside here, inside the video URL. It's like Jeremy Haynes video explainer, right? So I can get the actual structure of it. So it's going to help me take that video, turn it into a skeleton that you can then go ahead and use for your own video. So your hook will be similar to the reference video, the body, the way that you describe things will be very similar, the call to action will be very similar, and so on and so forth. Let's give this a minute or two, or give it like 30 seconds, and it will fully generate this template for you. So you can take the winning formula from a video that's already working, double, triple down on that, right? And that way, typically you'd have to create your own prompt for that. We've done this all for you. So it gives you the opening strategy, gives you the body structure, exactly how he does it, and bam, that is the actual script, right? Key structural principles, right? Avoid abstraction, right? Every principle gets grounded in specific examples, numbers, or metaphors, build credibility through specificity. So it does all of that really well. And that's how you can use Subscriber to enhance your script writing workflow. And there you go. So the next step is to write an outro, okay? And this is really simple, right? But outros and call to actions are super duper important, because once you've retained all of the attention from the viewer, the next step is to prompt them at the end of the video to take an action that you want to take. If you get all this attention and you don't direct it to what you want them to do, what's the point? So as a rule of thumb, don't use like and subscribe, okay? If the content is valuable enough, the viewers will like and subscribe on their own. So the 3 types of call to actions that I like to use is you can do a call to action to another video, you can do a call to action to a lead magnet, or you can do a call to action to your offer, right? To a lead magnet, we didn't really talk as much about, but let's talk about it right now. So in terms of where you can position your call to actions, there is a 2-minute mark, right? Your AVD, and at the end of the video. okay? The reason that we pitch at the 2-minute mark is because it's at the very start of the video. And if you wait to pitch all the way at the end of your video, right, people won't usually wait all the way to the end of the video, right? You'll usually have like an 80-90% drop off of people by the end of your 10 to 15 minute video, in which case you're like, right, you're gonna lose many people in the call to action. But if you do a call to action at the 2-minute mark, which is usually above the average view duration, which is, the average viewer usually stays to 3 to 4 minutes if it's a good video. If you pitch at the 2-minute mark, then many people are gonna see it, right? 60-70% of the number of viewers that you get are probably gonna see it. So in terms of the pitch that you want to do at the 2-minute mark, it's usually a lead magnet, right? So it's usually something to supplement the actual video that you're talking about. So if in this video I talk about how to write a script and the call to action is a lead magnet on how to make thumbnails, then that doesn't make sense. But if I pitch at the 2-minute mark of the video, I'm like, hey, right, you can get my full YouTube script writing guide, click the link in the description, then you're going to go there and you're going to click on it. So the likelihood of people clicking on that is going to be substantially higher, right? So you can pitch at the 2-minute mark, okay? Where I like to pitch is at my average view duration. So if you go into your YouTube studio, you can go ahead and see what is the average view duration of my videos. So let's say the average view durations where viewers kind of stay around at is at the 3-minute mark. So then I'm going to do a pitch at the 3-minute mark, because then that means the majority of my viewers or my average viewer would get to the 3-minute mark and then they would see my pitch and then they would take an action from there, right? And that way, you don't have to position it too early and you can position it exactly at your average view duration or at the end of the video, right? The last one is you can do a call to action at the end of the video, and that's usually to a call to action to another video or to your offer. So, these are the 3 types of call to actions or the 3 places that you can place your call to actions. So let's talk about how to write a call to action to another video, right? So any call to action that you do, or whether it's the AVD or at the end of the video, you always follow the same framework. It's hook, curiosity, action. Hook, curiosity, action. Okay, so an example call to action to another video will be, hey, so that's exactly how you can send 1,000 cold emails every single day on autopilot, right? It's a hook, but there's something I didn't tell you at the start of the video. So once again, you hook them in, kind of like what you do with the open loops. You have curiosity. It's, hey, everything I just told you is completely useless if you don't know how to use it to make money for your business. And action is click on this video if you want to learn how to get clients with cold email in 2024, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, so something as simple as that. It's just your hook, curiosity, action, right? You can steal this exact hook, but there's something I didn't tell you at the start of the video, right? You can do this for every single video. This is what I like to do. Really reuse the viewer back in. Now let's talk about how to pitch your offer or lead magnet. Okay, so offer or lead magnet pitch, right? It's going to be way simpler than your hook gap action, right? It's just me, hey, by the way, I just opened 10 spots for my one-on-one program. I want you to hear it first. The link is in the description, right? So it's nothing too long. It's usually 1 to 2 sentences and you can do a super duper soft pitch, right? And that way it's a call to action, right? Or it's like, hey, by the way, if you want to, get the slides that I exactly talked about in this specific video, you can click the link in the description, right? And I'll send it right to your inbox. Like, that's about it. Don't need to do anything too crazy. In terms of mistakes that you typically make in your call to action is at the very end of the video, what most people do is that they'll recap points in their videos, right? If they need to visit a point, they can rewind to the part that they missed, okay? So you don't need to recap the points in the video. You don't need to be like, okay, so far we talked about this, and this, and then you end it, because that is killer of your retention, because you're basically signaling to the viewer like, hey, the video is done. We're going to dip. Okay, number 2 is having multiple call to actions. Okay, so it's okay to have a call to action at the 2-minute mark and at the end of the video, but if you have multiple call to actions in one area, you're absolutely going to screw your click-through rate, right? Because a confused viewer doesn't buy, or a confused viewer doesn't click, right? So if at the end of your video, you tell them, hey, get a lead magnet, this is my offer, and this is another video, they're not going to know exactly what to do. So if you can just tell them at the end of the video, like, hey, click on my offer, and then that's just that. Or if you can tell them, hey, at the end of my video, click on this other video to learn more, then they will go ahead and click on that other video. So it's okay to have multiple call to actions in one video, but the call to action at any given point shouldn't be more than 1 call to action, so they know exactly what to do. Imagine if at the 2-minute mark, you give 1, 2, 3 call to actions, right? That's absolutely going to screw your video, so don't do that. And the last step, number 3, is not giving a reason of why they should follow through with the call to action and being lazy of it, okay? If at the end of your video, right, the call to action to another video, we talked about hook gap action, right? You're just like, hey, click on this other video, meaning that you don't rehook the viewer and you don't give the viewer a reason to follow through with the call to action. You don't rehook them. You don't create a curiosity gap. You just tell them, hey, click on this video, right? That's a very lazy way of doing a call to action, because why would you do that when it literally takes you 20 seconds in order to script out the call to action? Literally just script out the call to action. I promise you, it's worth it. Let's talk about how to edit your script. So in an age of AI, right, you have to edit your script. Why? Because when you are using AI to write your full script, right, no matter what tool it's for, right, there is always going to be fluff, right? And the first draft will never be perfect. In fact, the first draft will usually be terrible, right? It'll be bad and that's okay. But we're not looking for perfection in the first draft, because as Stephen King says, to write is human, to edit is divine, and really every script should go through 1 to 2 rounds of editing. And really, once again, we do not want to rush this process, because if we do, even the edited version will be trash. Okay, so whenever I edit a video, right, I always go through this editing checklist, right? And once again, you can get this editing checklist in the link in the description. Over here, right, we do a pre-writing foundation check, okay? I get my target audience defined, I define my client voice and tone, I get my video goal clarified, I understand my content strategy, and I'll review my hook when I'm editing. This is the most important thing when you edit, right? Make sure that there's click validation, make sure that there's a curiosity gap created, there's stakes established, there's objections pre-handled, language simplicity, length check, logical flow, open loops use, retention strategy, value distribution, content accuracy and strategy, right? Language and readability, value and engagement, technical script elements, right? Visual, audio, and cues, call to action quality, right? And I want you to go through each of these steps, right? For example, in the hook, we want to make sure that we validate the click, we create a curiosity gap, we establish stakes, we pre-handle objections, we simplify the language, and the hook is under 30 seconds. And then for structure verification, we make sure that there's a logical flow, we have open loops used, we have a proper retention strategy, and there's value distribution here, right? We want to make sure that there's facts verified, sources identified, examples are relevant, and there's no contradictions, right? And you can literally just go through this entire checklist and make sure that, hey, my script needs to follow this checklist and to edit it, okay? And instead of, reading this out to you, once again, you can get this in the link in the description, right? I am going to show you exactly how to edit a script. So let's edit a script live together. So this is a script that has gone through over here. You can see outline 1, outline 2, full draft 1, and then now it's a full draft 2. Okay, so the title of this video is how to script so fast YouTube thinks that you're cheating. Okay, so this is a script for my channel. I want to show you guys kind of my thought process while I'm editing this as I'm reading this out loud. Okay, so when I'm editing a script, what I like to do is not just even for the camera, I like to read it out loud, right? I want to make sure that, hey, I can hear myself reading out the script, so I know that it's natural, right? So you can see over here, after writing 1,073 YouTube scripts and generating 50 million views, which resulted in millions of dollars earned, I've developed a system that lets me write viral scripts in under 2 hours while maintaining the quality that keeps viewers hooked. And today I'm giving you the exact system that will make you script so fast, YouTube will think that you're cheating. So you can see here, I validate the click, right? This has a purpose over here, right? Maybe you can see over here, which has resulted in millions of dollars earned. I can probably delete that. However, before we start, I want to tell you that this is about using AI or some way to do prompts. It goes way deeper in understanding, and I can maybe simplify this. And this goes beyond using AI and writing a few prompts, right? So simplify it. It goes way deeper into understanding the parts that actually into understanding what actually keeps viewers glued to their screen. So more emotion into it. Let's get into it. Now, the reason why you spend 8+ hours on a script is because you're obsessing over every word. You're trying to perfect every transition and polish every sentence. The problem is you're wasting time perfecting the wrong parts. That's why scripting takes forever. And I'm pretty sure you don't know that less than 20% of your script drives all of your attention. If you look at retention graphs, you see a pattern. Viewers leave because of weak hooks. They leave at transitions without open loops. They leave when you transition from point 1 to point 2 without open loops, and they leave the moment you signal the end. And they leave the moment when you wave a red flag and scream at the top of your lungs, hey, my video is ending, right? So I can add more emotion here, right? More in line with my voice, which means you really just have to focus on the 20% that keep people watching. I'm going to show you exactly which those parts are, how to nail them every time, and how to speedrun and systemize everything else, right? Actually, here we kind of be talking about the 80-20 principle. So I kind of want to look at the overall structure of this now after reading it. Obsessing over every word, you're trying to perfect every transition in every sentence. The problem is you're wasting time perfecting the wrong parts. That's why scripting takes forever, right? There's the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, that applies to all of scripting, meaning that less than 20% of your script drives all of your retention. And I can probably delete this, right? Viewers leave because of weak hooks. They leave when you transition from point 1 to point 2 without open loops, and they leave the moment that you wave a red flag and scream at the top of your, like, hey, my video is ending. Which means you really just have to focus on the 20% that keep people watching, and you can probably ignore the other 80% of your script and outsource that to AI. I actually kind of like that. I'm going to show you exactly what the most important 20% of your script is how to nail it every time, and how to speed run and systemize everything else. But you can't work on that critical 20% without first locking in 3 things: your thumbnail concept, and your main idea research. Most people skip either this or waste 2 hours on it, both are mistakes. So first, I can probably delete this. So first, nail your title and thumbnail. So you can see over here, when I'm editing it and I'm reading it out loud, I'm just thinking, what can I delete, right? Because a lot of the scripting that we do, or a lot of the scripting with AI, is a lot of fluff, right? There's a lot of blank space within that. So I just want to delete as much as possible. So over here, your title and thumbnail create the promise of the hook, and the rest of your script need to deliver. So start there, write 3 to 5 title options, then pick the one with the strongest curiosity gap. And sketch your thumbnail concepts. This doesn't need to be perfect or finalized. This just needs to be clear enough that you know what your visual hook will be. Second, do a quick directional research for 15 minutes. If you already know your topic inside out, you can skip this entirely. But if you need to get up to speed, hunt for just 2 things. What are the 3 to 5 main points you'll teach, and the one belief you challenge? That's it. Don't deep dive yet. I'll show you how to do targeted research later on the video. Right now, you just need enough direction to identify the 20%. Now let's go over the 4 critical parts that drive all your attention real quick. And then there's the rest of the script. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of show you, this is one of my scripts and this is exactly how I edit it. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is how I would edit this script, right, on AI banks that we literally just created together. So once we have the script inside subscriber over here, once again, I will read the hook, right? So the hook is the most important that I spend a lot of my time on. So for decades, the human face, right, was the most trusted authentication protocol in corporate history. No password required, no token needed. You saw your CFO on screen, you heard his voice, and your brain returned a clean result. Verified, and your brain instinctually trusted him. In 2024, that sacred protocol was cracked. So you can see there's a lot of fluff here, right? By a video call, right? 15 transfers with 5 different bank accounts, right? Totaling a 25.6 million extracted in approximately 15 minutes from a company with no compromised systems, no stolen credentials, and no technical failure of any kind. The only thing the criminals needed to exploit was the assumption that a human face on screen is proof of a human behind it. In 2024, that assumption cost Europe $25.6 million, and it is still embedded in the communication infrastructure. This is the story, right? I can be like, hey, this is the story of how a Zoom call turned into a $25 million heist. And I can just delete that, right? So this is already pretty good, just me reading out loud. So to understand why this worked, you have to understand who they hit. ARP isn't a bank, it isn't a crypto exchange, it's a British multinational engineering firm. The kind of firm that builds a firm, right? A firm that designs bridges, concert halls, airports, and the structural backbone of government infrastructure across 6 continents. Founded in 1946, ARP had built a reputation as one of the most technically sophisticated organizations on earth. The Sydney Opera House, the Beijing National Stadium, that requires decades of institutional trust to even get a seat at a table. That reputation is relevant because it tells you something about how the firm operates internally. Large, complex, globally distributed organizations run on a specific kind of institutional trust. The assumption that when a senior executive issues a directive, the chain of command responds, right? And that's why the system failed, right? The Hong Kong office was a high-value node in that network. It handled significant financial operations, ran on standard corporate communication infrastructure, email, internal directories, Zoom, and processed the kind of inter-office transfers that are routine in a firm operating at that scale. Nobody flags a wire transfer when wire transfers are part of the job description, right? Nobody questions instructions from the top dogs. Not top dog, maybe not, right? I'd be like, hey, find a different word from top dogs. So if I'm not sure, I just outsource it to AI, right? Here's what the criminals understood before the operation even started. ARP's attack surface wasn't technical. There were no compromised firewalls, no breach databases, no zero-day exploit on the network architecture. The attack surface was entirely human, and it was wide open. ARP's public profile made it wider. Earning calls posted to YouTube, executive keynotes at industry conferences, interviews with the CFO, right? So here, I mean, like all of this looks pretty good, but really when I'm editing it, I just want to read out loud to see what is there that I can edit for. So you can see over here, there's like a bunch of, this doesn't really sound like human. So I'm going to be like, hey, rewrite this to sound more like a human, not with these disconnected sentences, right? So that's exactly what I'm going to look out for. So I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to be like, hey, change it more to be like this, right? So basically you would read out the entire script like that. and literally just go through line by line exactly what to edit and cut out as much fluff as possible, right? And if you're not sure, you're like, hey, I want to strengthen my hook, you can strengthen the hook like this, right? And this is also really good because another thing that we talked about was transitions and open loops. So if I'm like, hey, I want to analyze my transitions between the sections, identify what feels abrupt and disconnected, and then edit it that way, I'm also going to use a prompt like this in order to edit it. So I don't just manually edit it and just by reading it out loud, although that is super duper useful, but I like to use AI to really help me with this, right? And then I can kind of see the differences over here. So I can see here the bridge of inevitability. I like that. Okay, over here, section 1 and section 2, right? Section 1 ends attack surface in plain sight. It's a repetitive reset. You've already established attack surface. Now we need the criminals. Okay, that makes sense. So let's say use a count on trigger phrase, create a sense of trap being sprung. So let's say, okay, I want to make changes to 1, 2, and 3. Make the changes now. So we can literally just prompt it in order to make the changes, and just like that, identify, look for the transitions, and then make those specific changes that way, right? So literally you just want to read your entire script, read it out loud, right? Find any inefficiencies that, if you can use AI to help you find these inefficiencies, that's even better, right? Which is exactly what we did. So you can see it just rewrites the actual structure, right? So you can see over here, it changed the transition here. Extracting 25 million in 15 minutes requires more than just a fake face. It requires a target with enough institutional mass to move that kind of capital without blinking. A target like ARB, right? And then we can probably delete this now because that ARB isn't a bank. It isn't a crypto exchange. It's a British multinational engineering firm. So then that gives enough context, right? And just like that, you have like a Fern style script that if you spend some time editing, doesn't require you to hire a ton of script writers, ton of like YouTube strategists in order to put something like this. And it's really, really cool that you can just do this in such a short amount of time, really with just the resources that we have. And there you go. That's me editing a script live. And the final piece of the puzzle, right? When you are writing a script, now that you have your full script, the next thing that you want to do is you want to storyboard your script. Okay, so what is storyboarding? Storyboarding in YouTube script writing is when you add notes in your script for the editor, and it's basically a way to guide your editor through a visual script. So when you are writing your script, right, a lot of people, what they will do is they'll just go ahead and record it, and then they make a ton of mistakes, and then you get absolutely screwed, right? But what you really want is you need to tell the editor and give him direction on exactly what to do with your script, especially if it's a fully written script, or giving them editing direction. So this is an example over here. The yellow highlighted parts, this is an example of how we actually, create this over here. So for the edit, do the exact opposite of the intro. So we give it a YouTube video, we give him the timestamps, and we give him exactly what visually to do, right? And you can see you're doing edit where the camera falls sideways, example over here, right? 000. Example, do an edit where the camera falls sideways and uncovers the 7 heavenly virtues similar to this. So we want to give the editor, especially in the introduction, a storyboard in order to follow. And this is exactly how I would do it inside of a Google Doc, right? We make sure to highlight it so that the editor knows exactly what to look at. So they have the script on one side and then they have the storyboard on the other. So in terms of kind of main principles to do it, right? When I'm doing storyboarding, I like to have the visuals, references, clips, and the time codes. Okay, so for the visuals, I would tell it like, hey, add fade to black after this line or use slow motion shot here. For references, right, we want to give him the reference. For clips, right, it's like, hey, overlay text during this line with a quick zoom effect. So we want to tell them exactly what to do, and you want to give them specific time codes, right? So you want to guide your editor as much as possible, right? That's not to say that, hey, for every single line, you need to do a storyboard, but with AI, it's much easier right now in order to do the storyboarding. But really, you want to be able to do a storyboard so that it's actually, you want to make sure, number one, that the storyboard is actually good so that you can give the editor direction, or you can do the storyboarding right now so that you can create AI video generations with your specific script. So you know what specific AI videos to generate that you can give your editors with the specific AI video generators. And really, this is super important kind of in the new age of YouTube script writing, and in the new age of YouTube, and in the new age of creating YouTube videos. It's, giving clear direction so that people know exactly what to do. If you do not storyboard your script, right, your editors are going to be confused, right? You're going to give them the freedom to do it, but it might not necessarily come out the way you want. So I would spend a little bit more time inside the storyboarding phase here. So in terms of a couple mistakes to avoid when storyboarding, right? Number one, too many details. So overwhelming editors with unnecessary information. Don't want to give too many details. You don't want to get too much into the nitty gritty. You want to give them some, directional control, like creative control there. Or having no context. So vague notes, You don't want to do that, right? Using unlicensed clips or music can get your video taken down. Copyright problems, you want to avoid that, right? So you want to make sure that every clip that you use is copyright safe. When you use a movie clip, you want to make sure that you give them instructions on exactly how to keep it from being copyright taken down or just ignoring your editor playing out, right? So don't make any of these 4 mistakes when you are doing your storyboarding, and you will get a very happy script with a great storyboard there. And there you go. That is this full YouTube scriptwriting course summarized. If you like this video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Drop a comment. What did you find is the most valuable thing inside this YouTube scriptwriting course? And what other content are you looking to learn besides YouTube scriptwriting? And that's all for this full YouTube scriptwriting course. Thanks for watching. If you want to get these slides, click the link in the description. And if not, I'll see you in the next one.